I'm Daniel R. Croce. It's C-R-O-C-E. I'm a captain, U.S. Coast Guard Reserve, retired. I had just started a job in Manhattan, in Lower Manhattan, in the marine insurance industry, and probably been there for about 3 weeks at that point. But that day, I took the bus and the subway on an express subway that took me the furthest away from the World Trade Center than all the other routes I've taken. So while walking past the New York Stock Exchange, I got hit with a piece of debris, and I saw other pieces of debris falling from the sky. So I kind of ran for cover. I ran over to my office and looked out the window, and you could already see the devastation in Tower 1. So I immediately went to the phone and called Commander Mark Boble, who was my boss when I was on active duty. So I called him. I said, I just want to be sure you knew what was going on. I'm in Lower Manhattan. If you need me for any assistance, please let me know. So we started talking, and he said, yeah, I have the TV on right in my office, and I can see it. I had said, we really need some Coast Guard assets to set up a security zone around the World Trade Center, mainly just to keep boat traffic away and for safety, not knowing the second plane was going to hit the World Trade Center and it was going to be much worse than we'd ever had imagined. And shortly after we were talking, I heard an explosion and our whole building shook. I ran out of my office and saw my coworkers, and they were all in shock, and I said, what happened? And they were on the other side of our office where you could look out toward the Hudson River in New Jersey, and they said, we just saw a jet fly by our office windows and right into Tower 2. So at that point, I knew that this was an attack. And some of my coworkers were saying, how could this happen? What are the air traffic controllers doing? I was trying to explain, but I said, it's not the air traffic controllers. This is an attack. They asked, how do you know? I said, I just know. So I was trying to direct the group that I was with to go down toward the Coast Guard building at Battery Park, and we all felt that would be safe. Let's get to the park. We're away from tall buildings. You didn't even know if the buildings might fall. One of the real reasons I wanted to get into the Battery building was I wanted to try to reach Coast Guard activities in New York again. Because as I saw so many people flooding into the streets, and I knew that the subways were closed, the bridges were closed, there was really no way to get off Manhattan. So what I wanted to do was to call activities in New York and mention that there's a need for a water evacuation. At one point, when I was on the side of the building where closest to the trade centers, I saw the plume of dust come. I honestly thought it was just going to break through the building and the windows. I didn't know what it was. So I ran to the other side of the building to be closer to the water. And it turned out that it just went over the building, and it was like day turned into night. It was pitch black, and it was the eeriest thing to ever experience. It turns out that at some point after doing all that and it was sunny again, I looked out to the water, and there it was. It was a New York, the Sandy Hook pilot boat in New York, and a fleet of tugs heading from the Verrazano Bridge toward Manhattan, kind of in a V formation. And to me, it was like the cavalry was coming and to rescue the people from the evacuation, to evacuate people from Lower Manhattan. And then while I was down there, there was a New Jersey State Police boat there. In the State Police boat, there was a gentleman who looked at me. He goes, Commander Croce? And I said, yeah. And it was a gentleman I worked with when I was stationed down in Sandy Hook. His name was Vinnie Borelli. And it's just like such a typical New York thing. You have all this going on, and you're bumping into people you know. So he said, "Can I help you in any way?" I said, "Yeah, I have to end up going to New Jersey." He said, "Is there any way I can get a ride to New Jersey?" He said, "Yes, I have one of my troopers to take you over." So I got in it was a small Boston whaler, and the New Jersey State policeman and I just went around the battery, and he said to me something I'll never forget. He said, "When we get around the bend here, you're going to see the saddest sight you'll ever see in your life." And it truly was.